Hey guys, it's been a while, huh? I really missed you guys. I did. Uh-huh. What's that? You thought I was dead? Nah, man, I'm fine. These flies are here because I haven't bathed in over a week. Those damn cannibals have kept me trapped here for a week as well. Don't worry though. I found this nifty crate full of rice crackers and mouthwash to keep me satisfied. It's been a bit lonely here though. Although 3 days ago, some guy who said he was the last survivor of his regiment begged me to let him in, but he sounded British, so it was an automatic no for me. I wonder what became of him. Anyways, my humble viewer, you're forgetting something important. Yeah, that's right. I'll give you 3 seconds to guess what it is. It's the Alamo. You forgot the Alamo, you dummy! But you know what? I didn't. I'll never forget the Alamo. I don't forget. I don't dwell on it. And I definitely don't forgive the Mexican. Now look, I'm a darn proud citizen of Texas. I was just here on a tourist trip here in San Sebastian. Oh, and this uniform, I found it off a dead guy and I thought it looked cool. But now that I'm here, I've been bored out of my mind in the shack, and I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I've been thinking on what if the Texas Revolution had some sort of DLC update in Guts and Blackpowder. Wouldn't that be cool and awesome? Now, I know what you're thinking.
Well, Barnacle, isn't the Alamo already in Guts and Blackpowder? You dumb idiot. I hate you so goddamn much. I hope you die painfully, and your whole family as well in a horrific car accident.
Now, my first response to that would be, I didn't even add that last part in the script for him to read out. My second response would be, I know. I just wanted to do a fun, creative project centered around my favorite era of American history and my favorite Roblox game. So I created unique regiments, weapon, and gadget ideas, and even a map in Roblox Studio just for this hypothetical update. And my second disclaimer is that there isn't a whole lot of information online about things like Mexican regiments or any cities in Texas. There's not a whole lot of documentation in the 1830s about random Texas towns in the middle of nowhere. So some stuff in this video might be a bit inaccurate. But don't worry, it shouldn't be as redundant as my weapon ideas in my last G&B video. Dear God, I'm actually really sorry for some of the putrid ideas said in that video. Anyways, let's start with the regiments. Alright, all we really need to do are add some bonus Mexican regiments since we already have plenty of Texan irregular regiments for the Alamo map. First regiment would be, of course, the 1E regiment found in the Alamo map, but white. No, not their skin color, dude. Their uniforms. The Mexican army had white uniforms for their troops, and some troops outfitted with these white uniforms fought at the Alamo. So this would be a great basic free regiment for them in the game. Also, they wore sandals. Cool. Second regiment will be the San Luis Regiment. They were documented to be at the Battle of San Jacinto and have these really cool light blue uniforms. Not that much info is known about this regiment other than that. Third up would be the Morelos Cavalry Regiment. They easily would be the best looking cavalry regiment if they were out in the game. They were known for being the main cavalry regiment at the Alamo and were documented as slaughtering any retreating Texans that tried to escape during the battle. Also, Mexican cavalry regularly had sappers in their regiments, so this would be the first cavalry regiment in the game with sappers. Fourth is the Mexican priests, and these guys would be awesome and badass with their long priest robes, and secondly, here's the surgeon outfit. To my knowledge, the Mexicans don't have any official army surgeon corps with uniforms, so they just wore normal attire. Alright, on to the weapons of the update. Now firstly, let me say all the weapons from my older G&B video that would actually be in this update since they would make sense. That video was garbage when it came to the research department. The only gun that would make sense would be the long rifle, since there is proof that they were used, and yes, it would just be a reskin of the rifle. Now, let's start by saying the new weapons of the update, and let's start with the things that Texans love the most, and that's guns. The first gun would be the double-barreled shotgun. Famously, the commander-in-chief of the Alamo, Colonel Travis, God bless his soul, wielded one of these. Now, these things didn't use shotgun shells, and it would not be a reskin of the horse artillery pistol, but for the seaman. Notably, the Texans preferred to load these guns with scattershot. So, yes, this would be a 2-barreled blunderbuss. Here would be the stats. It would cost 450 francs, deal 45 damage per pellet, have 6 pellets per shot, 35% more accurate than the blunderbuss, a penetration of 3, would have a 16-second reload, and of course would have 2 shots. a 2-shot sniper blunderbuss. This thing would be awesome to have, and I can't believe one of these things were actually used by one of the biggest badasses of the Alamo. The second gun would be the dueling pistol. Back in the day, duels were very common in the frontier of America, and especially in Texas. Notably the sandbar fight, where pistols like these were regularly given to would-be duelists. And of course, dueling pistols were used by Texan soldiers. They were basically intricate personal pistols with heavier barrels to allow for accurate fire and steady aiming. So let's make these bad boys replicate that. They would cost 1,250 francs, deal 90 damage, increased headshot multiplier so you could one-shot zappers, same accuracy as the carbine, slightly higher range than the pistol, 5 penetration, 7-second reload, and would have a 1-second longer equip speed. The last stat I'm not really satisfied with because it would be more thematically appropriate if they had a quicker draw speed since they were used for dueling, and it would be really fun if it had a quick draw feature, but they did have heavier barrels and were bulkier, so that debuff would make sense and balance out the weapon a bit better. Basically, the rifle for the officer. Alright, the third and last gun will be the Derringer. Now, I know I recommended this in my older video, but the stats felt too comical and was anachronistic, so I'm changing it and giving it a new feature. Also, no Derringers were confirmed to ever be used by the Texan rebels, but it's very likely that some rebels must have had some on them. They would cost 600 francs, deal 75 damage, same accuracy as the DB pistol, lower range than the DB pistol by about a bit, 5.5 second reload since it was a percussion cap pistol, 3 penetration, and if your pistol is loaded, you can get yourself out of a shambler grab by pressing X by shooting the zombie. Optional, you can also get yourself out of a runner grab too. The last stat with the runner is optional because with the fast reload and self-protection utility, this could easily become OP, but due to it being a pea shooter and hampering your damage output, the pistol would serve you a lot better if you stick with your team. Also, you're an officer. Come on, stick with your team, bro. Anyways, on to melee weapons, and the first melee weapon would be the Bowie knife. Come on, if you know anything about Texas history, you know this was going to be in the video. Wielded by none other than Jim Bowie, who fought at the Alamo, and famous for its use by the sandbar fight, this would be a no-brainer to add, and would probably be the coolest weapon ever added in the game, period. It would cost 500 francs, deal 35 damage, same swing speed as the stake, the left and right attack would be the same as the hatchet's animations, and the down and up attack would be the same as the stake's animations. It would have a short range and 3 penetration. This would be a barricade clearing menace due to its fast swing rate, but it seems like it would be a bit of a straight upgrade to the saber, but remember, its size is small and it would be a death sentence if you're facing up against runners. But if it's too powerful, we can cut the penetration down to 2. Next would be the Tomahawk 2. Notably, this would be for the officer. Ooh. Now, I googled if the Tomahawk 2s were used by the Texans, and it said yes, but gave no other further proof beyond that, so take this information with a grain of salt. So, in-game, since it would be used by the officer, it would have some cool beads and native decoration on it, so to acquire this, Bubbles either killed a native or bought one from one. It would cost 1,350 francs, deal 40 damage, same swing speed as the hand axe. It would have a special ability where the upswing would have a special attack where it will always one-shot a shambler with a headshot, but it will lock you in place for a very short animation where you pry the tomahawk out of their head. It would last about 0.7 to 1 seconds. It's basically just the melee kill animations in Fallout 4. 3 penetration, it would have 50% less charge cooldown, but it would take 33% more hits to get a charge. Once again, I'm iffy on the stats, and I'm worried on how OP this weapon would be if you're farming hits on graves or spawning zombies, but I think this would be a fun alternative to the Officer Saber. Now, once again, this video is for fun and is entirely in the context of the Texas Revolution. If these weapons were added in the game, it would make no sense, because how in the hell would, say, an Austrian officer get a hold of the Tomahawk if it were on the Leipzig map or something? Okay, that should be enough weapons. I want the ideas to be plausible and not stupid. I know, crazy, right? Now, before we move on to the lovely objective map, know one thing. I learned Roblox Studio for this map, so please, be nice. Alright, the objective map will be Bexar. In 1836, it was one of the largest settlements in Texas at the time, and blossomed into quite the sizable city with a population of about 1,500 to 2,000 people. Famously, it's where the Siege of Bexar happened. Let me give you a quick history lesson on the battle. The Siege of Bexar started once Texan rebels surrounded the city and cut off supplies to starve out General Cossa's men of the Mexican army. After about a week, the Texans eventually got bored and invaded the city with brutal efficiency. House-to-house fighting ensued, with the Texans also turning the Mexicans' own cannons on them. After a while, General Coss surrendered under pressure from his own soldiers. This victory gave the rebels much-needed supplies and morale, with them only suffering a staggering 3 to 5 deaths, with the Mexicans suffering 150 to 200 dead. Jeez Louise, don't mess with Texas. Alright, now on to the map itself. The map would start with your joint company of battered Mexicans and Texans wandering out of the Texan wilderness, spotting a large smoke signal inside of the town of Bexar. With nothing better to do, you decide to infiltrate the city to investigate the smokestack and possibly rescue survivors. The map would start with you entering the town through the South Farmer Shacks. You'd walk your way up to a small cemetery and find objects scattered around to build a staircase to get atop the city wall. Once on the wall, you navigate to the roofs of the houses, which is inspired by the fact that many Mexicans during the battle took cover on the roofs of houses. Once down from the roofs, you'd be landed in a little mini shantytown, probably where the town hunters lived. You'd need to push forward a cannon, find the ammo for it, and shoot open a wooden wall that connects to other houses. You'd make your way house to house, chopping down all the doors, and engage in close house-to-house fighting as the zombies chase you from behind as they continue to spawn at the hunter's village. Once you make your way to the shop, you climb to the top, then jump down onto a hay bale, and must clear out the infected urban area of Bexar, with its signature white and orange Pueblo houses. Once you round the corner and climb the ladder and jump down, you should be met with a relatively friendly face.
Take this, you rotten! Oh, wait! Are you a rescue party? Thank God you got my signal. Sorry about the gun. I thought you were one of them vampires. Listen, I got my family holed up in here, and we're in desperate need of supplies. You can find guns and munitions to the west of town, and food and provisions to the east by the old ranch. Once you bring me the supplies, I'll bring down this barricade for you. Just head to the old fort up north, and that's where our militia's set up. Should be safe there. God bless you, strangers, and stay alert.
Well, you heard the man. The players must split up to recover supplies to bring to John, in order for them to proceed. Think of it like Cobb, but once you bring all the supplies to the wagon, the wall falls down by itself eventually. To compensate for how big this area is, each player can only carry a maximum of items, with each item having a different weight value, meaning you'd be able to only carry 2 barrels of gunpowder, but you can carry something like 3 horns of powder and 2 muskets. Once you reach max carry weight, your movement speed will only be slowed down by about 15%, so that backtracking to deposit the supplies at John's door isn't too arduous. Just like John said, you'll find food and supplies to the east in the overrun farm area. Shamblers, runners, and zappers would be more plentiful here, and they'd be difficult to spot in the foliage. Once the east has been looted, you must now head to the old armory to the west of town. The armory would have notably more bombers roaming around, so make sure to be careful looting the buildings. Basically, this whole section would be like if Leipzig and Cobb had a lovely little baby. Now, once all the supplies have been deposited, John will say this.
Alright, stand back. I'm gonna light up the barricade.
After about 10 seconds, he will light the makeshift barricade on fire. Players must hold out whilst they wait 40 seconds or so for the barricade to get turned to ash. Once the barricade has been burned, players are free to continue through the map, with John saying this as he wishes you farewell.
Again, head north to the old Pueblo fort. I can't thank you good people enough. We'll be praying for you.
Once you cross the bridge, you must grab buckets of water to put out a small fire to continue, whilst zombies trickle in from the nearby forest and the town. Once the fire is put out, players must continue through tight corridors and reach a house where they must enter an old shop and get to the top floor, and jump down to a hay bale pile. Keep heading straight until you finally reach the fort, which was actually at Bexar. Unfortunately, you quickly notice that the fort has been overrun with the dead, and you must clear out every zombie in the fort before proceeding. Most of the militia have either fled or died, leaving the only gate locked, but it's not like you'd be able to survive out in the forest. Fortunately, you find a carrier pigeon still inside of a cage inside the fort, with half of a message hastily written. Once you finish writing the rest of the message, you must open the crate and grab the pigeon. Latch the message onto her, and go outside, and once you release her, the final finale of the map will commence. At first, zombies will only trickle in from the old farm area, flooding into the main corridor just like catacombs. But after 2 minutes of holding out, zombies will begin spawning from the north and south areas, barging into the north and south flanks of the fort. Now, it's become catacombs mixed with that one horrible water section part from Copenhagen. After the hordes begin to start flooding in from the sides, the finale music begins to start playing, with it being Dance Macabre by Camille Saint-Saëns. Sorry if I mispronounced that. The music will begin playing at about the 4-minute mark in the song. A minute later, bombers will also start flooding in from the sides, instead of just the front, so players must put more attention to the north and south flanks so that the cannons covering the front don't get overrun. After another minute, you finally hear the clacks of horses, as militia finally arrive to the gates to rescue your ass. They blow up the gate, this time without killing themselves like a certain someone, and players can enter the carriages just like in Berezina. And once this is done, the horses begin escaping into the forest, cueing the end of the map. Once again, I hope my studio skills were serviceable enough to paint a vivid picture in your head on how the map would work. Bexar would basically be a mishmash of several objective maps in the game, with it basically being the beginning of Copenhagen, the middle part of Cobb and Leipzig, and the ending being a bit more challenging than Catacombs. I'm not a map designer, but I think the map would play fairly well in the game. Also, the map just reflects what I would like in a map, notably a surplus of large open areas to make guns useful and non-cramped holdout sections. Now, for the survival map, okay, you already know what it's going to be, and luckily I won't have to flounder in studio to make it myself. It's the Alamo. Come on, you already knew it was going to be the Alamo. So, for the update, we would just have to turn the Alamo siege map into a survival map. Notably, it would have to be shrunk down a bit to make it harder, but that would be basically it for the survival map. Alright, on to the last part of this update, the badges. The first badge would be Turning Tides, and you get it for beating Bexar. Pretty self-explanatory. Next badge would be a secret achievement called Crockett's Calling. You get it by headshotting a zapper with a Jaeger rifle or long rifle on any map from a distance of over 200 studs. This badge would also unlock the raccoon cap for you to wear. I hope I don't need to explain to you what this badge is referencing. If I do, watch the Alamo movie. It's really good! And the third and last badge would be Over My Dead Body. You achieve it by getting 3 kills with a single pistol shot whilst below 20 HP. This is in reference to when at the Alamo, Jim Bowie was sick and bedridden, and legend said that when the Mexicans attacked the fort, Bowie went out fighting with 2 pistols in his hand, killing 2 Mexican soldiers before dying by bayonet. Now, that should be everything for the hypothetical Texan Revolution update. I hope you enjoyed the video and all the effort that me and my friends put into it. Let me end it by thanking all my friends by mouth for their contributions. When I say by mouth, that does not mean by blowjob.
Damn it!
Thank you, Toastkit, for making the beautiful thumbnail. Thank you, Sunko, for the Battle of Bexar animation. Thank you, Paper Kitty, for the NPC animation of John. Thank you, Dojo Dog, for voice acting John. Thank you, Snami, for illustrating the badge art. Thank you, Munchy, for the loading screen art of Bexar. Thank you, JMT and 242, for being good friends and motivating me to work on this project. Especially you, JMT. Your kind words really meant a lot to me. Fuck you, 24. Thank you to all the G&B developers for making this the best game ever on Roblox, and being awesome, except for FEZEZEN, because he's Canadian, and I hope to see the day where we annex your country. And lastly, thank you, viewer, for watching this video. I spent a good month on this project, and I hope it lived up to y'all's expectations. I would love to see y'all's ideas, be it weapons, regiments, maps, voice lines, anything. Please say them. I'm a small enough channel to where I will be reading every comment posted down below. Anyways, I really gotta get out of the shed. Oh, fuck, they heard me.